reveals to what an extent we are willing to commit to ensuring that universal principles and conventions are upheld now and in the future. Bradley Manning took the fall for all of us. He took the recourse of blowing the whistle on war crimes in a supreme act of civil disobedience. His acts have caused no one harm. His acts offended the power of the state, not the security of the people. This sentence offends our collective moral faculty and our political agency. His sentence, his fate, his example is to serve as a deterrent to all future whistleblowers and truth tellers. This sets a very dangerous precedent and puts our democratic society at great risk. When we are ruled by secrecy, secret laws, secret courts, covert wars, and ruled by a merciless state drunk with impunity, whistleblowers are humanity's last recourse in an act of a non-violent rebellion, in a manifest expression of an outraged conscience. Our silence, if we were to remain silent now, would be tantamount to tacit consensus, to torture, to injustice, to secrecy, and to the disregard for the rule of law everywhere. This sentence is the inversion of the recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and unalienable right all members of the human family as the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world as guaranteed by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Bradley Manning, through his sacrifice, has ultimately taught us so much about ourselves, our nations, about our political systems, our institutions and values. The world has not been the same since this incredibly brave, young humanist committed a truly moral act of compassion and selflessness by exposing wrongdoing, unlawful wars, and torture. His mission for truth is also ours to bear. It is up to us to bear witness, and we are here today, thank you, not to remain silent, and to continue his legacy for upholding the truth. We need to continue the struggle for his freedom and demand that President Barack Obama grant him, executive clemency, and that the Nobel Committee bestow him with the Peace Prize. We need to ask our highest institutions and our elites to provide him with the moral legitimacy so that he might be exonerated and his dignity be restored as a citizen worthy of our respect. We are summoning all concerned members of the German civil society to join us in a gesture of collective acknowledgement for his sacrifice for greater mankind. His deeds shall not be forgotten. Join us in taking a collective vow to protect him and making manifest our displeasure with the justice being served. We're all Chelsea Manning, justice for all. Thank you. Yeah? Okay, now we have the statement. Thank you. The decision that I made in 2010 were decisions that were made out of concern for my country and the world that we live in. Since the tragic events of 9/11, our country has been at war. We've been at war with an enemy that chose not to meet us in any traditional battlefield, and due to this fact, we've had to alter our methods of combating the risks posed to us and our way of life. I initially agreed with these methods and chose to volunteer to help defend my country. It was not until I was in Iraq and reading secret military reports on a daily basis that I started to question the morality of what we were doing. It was at this time I realized that in our efforts to meet the risk posed to us by the enemy, we have forgotten our humanity. We consciously elected to devalue human life both in Iraq and Afghanistan, and when we engaged those that we perceived were the enemy, we sometimes killed innocent civilians. Whenever we killed innocent civilians, instead of accepting responsibility for our conduct, we elected to hide behind the veil of national security and classified information in order to avoid any public accountability. In our zeal to kill the enemy, we internally debated the definition of torture. We held individuals at Guantanamo for years without due process. We inexplicably turned a blind eye to torture and executions in Iraq by the Iraqi government, and we stomached countless other acts in the name of our war on terror. Patriotism is often the cry extolled when morally questionable acts are advocated by those in power. When these cries of patriotism drown out any logically based dissension, it is usually the American soldier that is given the order to carry out some ill-conceived mission. Our nation has had similar dark moments for the virtues of democracy. The Trail of Tears, the Dred Scott decision, McCarthyism, the Japanese-American internment camps, to mention a few. I am confident that the many actions since 9/11 will one day be viewed in similar light. As the late Howard Zinn once said, there is not a flag large enough to cover the shame of killing innocent people. I understand that my actions violated the law. I regret if my actions hurt anyone or harmed the United States. It was never my intent to hurt anyone. I only wanted to help people. And when I chose to disclose classified information, I did so out of a love for my country and a sense of duty to others. If you deny my request for a pardon, I will serve my time, knowing that sometimes you have to pay a heavy price to live in a free society. I will gladly pay that price if it means we could have a country that is truly conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all women and men are created equal. Thank you, Bradley Manning. You're welcome to take the microphone. If you feel moved, please be my guest.